All right, I got to town early, stopped off at Walmart. I haven't been there since they remodeled a couple of years ago in Calcutta. It is absolutely beautiful. Also had a chance to stop in to see the Sheets family, which I always do. Bigger and better card, Sheetsier, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. And I always love the fact that people are hiring, and they are doing that. Check this out. Supervisors and salesperson joining a winning team. That, of course, is the Sheets Corporation. And, you know, I've been talking a lot about this, and with the Open Championship, I'm going to keep talking about it. That Arizona Arnold Palmer iced tea, love it, love it, love it. You can pick it up at all of your Sheets convenience stores up and down the East Coast throughout the United States. And you can even enjoy an ice-cold Miller Lite out there in Calcutta. And with Milwaukee in town, you got to think Miller beer and the front row, Bob Uecker, right? So do that. But listen, Arnold Palmer, the guy, half and half. This is the light one, trying to shed a few pounds, your Pratte pack. So let me take a sip. And here we go. Ted Arnaud is joining us now on the AT&T Sportsline. Teddy, before we talk Steelers, you know, one of the things that we've talked quite a bit about is pain management in the National Football League and medical marijuana. We've talked about it on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show with Greg Diulis, who's a professional agent. He, of course, from Vantage Management Group. Bob Dvorak, longtime journalist. And as I got in East Liverpool tonight, I noticed the headline of the Evening Review talked about the old Faro Corporation, the plant that's been empty in the East End for 20 years, 110,000 square feet. Well, Pharmaceutical RX, Rebecca Myers, the founder, cultivating location could happen there. Jobs eventually, according to Mayor Ryan Stovall, $14 an hour, and about 100 jobs when it's all said and done. I'm for it. I believe it's long overdue, and I think it could really help some of these athletes who deal with chronic pain playing in the NFL. That's my opinion. What's yours? Good evening.
Well, I think the pain management aspect of it for athletes is one thing, but also just the general public. I think what people have gone to is opioids, and really a tremendous influx of opioids when perhaps, and like I've said, I'm not an expert in this, but I certainly think that the medical marijuana is less intrusive than the opioids that they're getting now. So I think it's certainly worth an experiment. I mean, it's legislation. Legislation can change, but I'm for it. I think anything that can help to tremendous influx of opioid products and opioid use is worth looking at.
Okay, earlier I mentioned Big John Banaszak, Robert Morris College is at Steelers.com, talking about his first training camp. And he said, you know, going in, I knew it wasn't going to be rougher than Paris Island. And I just believed in myself, and I was in great shape. And, you know, I think he signed for $1,500. And I made the connection about Le'Veon Bell getting franchise tagged for $12.1 million. So we don't need to hold any pity parties for Le'Veon Bell. That's a nice chunk of change. So do you think in the long run, that puts him in the top 5 highest paid running backs in the league? That's a good deal for both sides, Ted?
I do, because he gets a chance to prove himself for, and this is going to sound crazy, a really big paycheck. And the Steelers get a chance to really look at him for another year under his current contract and evaluate exactly what they want to do. I think it's good for both. And I think Le'Veon is certainly motivated to do everything he can for the Steelers to have a good season. The Steelers are motivated for Le'Veon to have a good season. So all of the alignment is there, and I hope that it works out as well as I think it will.
All right, now before we get down to some intriguing battles at training camp, which will begin shortly at different positions, I want to talk about a couple of people that are making news in the NFL. Matt Ryan, who really had to earn your respect, and you got to admit, he made us all a believer. I've been a believer of his since his days at Boston College. He's got 2 years left on this deal. He said, look, I'm going to let people who do business. I'm not going to worry about it. Matthew Stafford, you know, they keep saying they're going to get it done. Here's my question, and I talked about this earlier. I want your opinion, a guy who's done a lot of contracts. When do you really decide who deserves to have a new contract in the middle of a contract? What's your thought process about that, Ted?
Well, it's actually not that different than most business deals. When is the optimum time to minimize your costs and yet lock the player in so that he's properly motivated? and it changes with the personality of each team.
All right, now we get a chance to talk about some battles at training camp. Let's start off with slot corner. Obviously, Artie Burns and Ross Cockrell. But there is that guy by the name of William Gay who could really make a run at that slot corner position. And he does have some competition there, too, including Cam Sutton, the guy who got drafted this year. So who do you think gets the slot corner position for the Steelers?
Well, I think Gay will start off with it simply because he's got the experience, and they're going to do a lot of reps where the others get a chance to come in, get some experience, prove their stuff. But I think definitely it's going to be him to start off with, unless something happens drastically in training camp. I don't see that happening, so I think Gay is going to get it. But you're going to have some real competition, and it's great for the fans to see that that's developing in the defensive backfield for the Steelers. It means that maybe, just maybe, we'll get a real shot at New England. And of course, first we got to win the AFC North, which I think is going to be tougher than a lot of other people think. But I think this competition is great.
All right, now running back up. We all know Le'Veon's the guy. James Conner, who we'd all like to see, sentimental favorite, the Pitt graduate, just an amazing story. He's had some hamstring issues, and you talk about repetitions, and when you're out of the lineup, it really, well, especially your first year in the pros, takes some time to catch up. So now Davis is the guy that they're talking about. But what do you think really happens once this season gets underway? Who will back up Le'Veon Bell, Ted?
Well, I think Connor will. I really do. I think but they're going to use him. They'll probably platoon him. Connor will get the short distance yards, and they may split. I don't know exactly how many backs they're going to wind up keeping. But I think the future lies with Connor. And I know he's got hamstring issues. He's got other issues, but those will work out. I mean, it's early. So I think he's certainly going to be the focus right now.
Now, this is the intriguing battle. Slot receiver. Eli Rogers, Marcus Wheaton last year, but you got Juju Smith-Schuster, the second-round pick this year. Who do you think becomes the slot receiver for the Steelers?
Well, I think they would like to see Juju Smith, but I don't think it's going to be him. I think, once again, I think they're going to do a lot of rotation at that because they're going to really look at Martavis Bryant and, of course, AB as being the focal point, and I think they're going to really rotate those receivers with the hope that Juju Smith is the future, that he proves himself and can really take that position over. That's my guess. Rogers is, he's had his own issues. He's had some injury issues, so I think that's where it's going to go.
All right, kick and punt returners. Everyone from Antonio Brown to Sammy Coates to Kobe Hamilton. What do you think happens there?
Well, I think they're afraid to use AB much at it. I mean, he's so valuable in other positions. I think you might see Juju Smith and a couple of others try and take a shot at that. There's a lot of talent there, so but I don't think they want to see AB doing it anymore.
Okay, now outside linebacker Bud Dupree has really found his way, the 2015 first-round pick, and you got the 39-year ageless one, James Harrison, pretty much a given, and Arthur Mote's in there as well. But T.J. Watt, how much playing time do you think he'll get if he stays healthy?
Well, let's hope he stays healthy, but I think he's going to start off with maybe 5 to 10 reps. Then you'll see him starting to pick up speed, basically depending on how that goes and how James Harrison holds up at his age, which I don't think there's any issue there. I think he's going to be just fine. But I think you'll see him slowly growing into almost splitting that position by the time the middle of the season goes.
All right, now one other thing in the way of sports. And you know, it just came to me after I saw some horsepower earlier today. Solomon Sheets is getting gasoline in Calcutta. And what I love about this region, you've got a lot of folks that have horses for one reason or another. Beautiful horse trailer pulls in, these beautiful looking ponies just kind of chawing on some hay, and the wonderful owners, you know, putting some gas into the truck. I just thought I'd ask you because I had you here tonight, and I'm hoping it's a good report. Where are we right now with the state of horse racing, thoroughbred horse racing from West Virginia to Erie? Where are we right now, Ted?
Well, I think you've got Youngstown in between. You've got 3 thoroughbred tracks in the area. And, there's several questions. Are there enough customers to go around? And are there enough quality horses to go around? Because that is directly attributed to the income that a track can make by sending its signal out. OTB bettors and people who bet online, which is legal on thoroughbred racing, they look for good races, the quality of the field, the competitiveness, the shape of the track. And, it's one where, Mountaineer has got a lot of work to do because it's the older track. And I think the competition between those three tracks is as much as this area can possibly handle, and maybe too much. So you might see a degradation of the quality of the racing product that's going on in this area.
All right, Ted Arnaud, always a pleasure. Sunday, he will join us at 12:30 on the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh Newsline. Once again, always talking about the NFL. Ted, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Have a good evening, guys.
Coming up, Dr. Terry Madonna, next from Legacy Studios in East Liverpool.